it's just super fun and easy, or not easy. It's super fun now that it's I got a little bit better at it. It's like I can really maximize the fun in it. Cool. Again, if you have any questions, just type it into the chat. I'll start with so I'm gonna do a presentation. It's not anything super great, but it's just more to talk about the certain aspects of snowboarding. But and then after that, I sent Mark a document of links to videos on like on more information, or just videos on more like video just people riding and snowboarding, just to get y'all a little bit more excited and to see what's ahead and what other people do. But first, if we're ready, I'm just going to start with my snowboard and my boot and just talk about that. Equipment is very important in snowboarding and skiing too. It's one of those sports where equipment does matter. If you have better equipment, you're going to ride or ski better. So, but that being said, I started with very cheap gear that I bought at a consignment store somewhere. So I started really, cheap. And I still to this day, I don't buy retail. I don't pay full price. I just try to buy something used. So we'll get started here. I'll grab my board. All right. You won't be able to see all of it, but it's there. So this is my board. It's pretty big for me right now because it's a powder board, so it's a little bigger. So when there's a lot of snow, you can ride a smaller board. You might not stay on top of the snow. So that's why I have this one on top of another one, but I forgot my other one at the resort, so I'm just gonna use this one. Cool. And there'll be a video to talk about some of this stuff a little bit more in detail. So don't try to figure it out all right now. So I'm just gonna give you the basic components of the snowboard. And so this here, the actual board itself is called the deck. It is the money maker. It is the most important part. You have here on the other side, you have edges on the outside, metal edges that cut into the snow and makes it grip the snow and stop and turn and do all the magic, all the fun stuff there. So some of you may like snowboard or skateboard or surf, and you might be wondering if I'm goofy or regular. That may come up to in the future. And so let's talk about that really quick. And so I lead with my right foot. So my right foot is dominant, but so I lead with my left foot. So this makes this part my nose, and then the back side makes it my tail. So little forward and backwards. If you ride goofy, this just be the opposite. So you're leading with your right foot. This will be the nose, and the opposite will be the tail. And when we first learn, I tell people this all the time. You won't really know until you start actually making turns, and one side is going to feel better than the other. So when you first learn, just give it a few tries, and one side is going to feel better. So just stick to that side. But then, you know, it's going to open up a lot more features of snowboarding if you learn to ride both ways. So I'm still learning to ride switch. It's not totally super easy, but it's also something I can do and practice as I get better on my other side as well. So snowboarding is very infinite in learning. So it's like a lifetime passion. So you have a lot of time. Well, let's look at this binding really quick. It's a little different than skis. You have two straps, ankle strap, toe strap, which makes this front side the toe strap, the toe edge, and the back side here the heel edge. It's very important. Cool. This thing right here is called the high back. That supports the back of your leg, and you need this just to make have more control over the board. This is kind of flexible, so it can move with your leg as well. These bindings are secured into the board using screws, and base plates. Mine's a little different. You won't see this one with other snowboards because it's a little different, so I won't really show it to you. I don't want to confuse you. Cool. And these straps are like ratchet straps. You crank, we can't really see that. There you go. You crank until it stops, and this should come off pretty easily. I should be able to take this off with my pinky. So should be straightforward. All right, cool. Now I have my boot. This is a snowboarding boot right here. It's kind of big, not your average kind of boot, but it's two parts to it. It has a shell on the outside that's kind of stiff, and inside has a liner that can come out. And this liner is what gives you the more comfort. It's right there. These boots are pretty stiff, can be pretty stiff, or pretty flexible. Depends on what you want to ride. If you're riding really technical terrain, you want really stiff board or stiff boots. That way you have more reaction to it. Or if you're doing tricks and going into the park, and I'll talk about that in a second, you want more of a flexible boot. That way you can move in weird angles. So this is a typical snowboard boot. Laces, I wear laces just because I'm old school. There is other systems too where there's dials on the outside and the top where you just crank, and they'll tighten your boot. It's pretty easy and straightforward. But those tend to be a little bit more expensive. I like laces. Okay, so the biggest part too, I've seen to put on your boot into your binding. I've seen beginners first time just try to strap in like this, opposite. It's kind of weird. Don't really do that. You want to have your toes facing your toes and your heels facing your heel. So in here, see this space right in here? This is where your heel goes. And it's important to really get that heel tucked in nice and tight. So the way that I like to do it when I put on my board is I put my toes here and then I kind of slide my heel behind next to my high back. And I'm right there. I like to strap in my ankle strap first. Make sure that's nice and tight. That cinches my ankle all the way back. And then my toe side or my toe strap here. You can see mine has holes in it. That just gives me more flexibility and it covers the rest of the whole toe. It just cinches better essentially. And now that the boot is in here, I can, it's really tight and I can maneuver the board how I want it. So I'm gonna lift my toes, I can lift it, I can drop my toes, I can lift my heels, I can go side to side. So this should be super firm right there.
So Wesley, that strap goes over the toes, not over the top of the foot.
Some straps do go over the top. There are certain straps that have like a concave strap that's just designed to go over the toes, over that crest of those toes. So you gotta see what you have. Sometimes this hurts my toes after a long time in a boot. And so I just kind of go over the top sometimes to just rest my toes. But most of the time, this is gonna be the best way. Higher end bindings will have better straps. Lower end will have a little bit more and less complex systems. A new board can be like $600 to $200. Bindings like $200, $180. Boots go from $130 to like $400. All different levels, all different types of boards for different types of snowboarding. And again, you can find a lot of this stuff discounted for past models or online at Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. Yeah, so there's always cheap stuff. I never buy brand new. I always buy something used just to save more money. Cool. All right. The other piece for safety, you really want to have a helmet. A lot of people ride without a helmet. I have friends who've had traumatic brain injuries and it could have been prevented using a helmet. I got this helmet for 20 bucks. spend some money on a helmet, please. It's not required of ski resorts, but it definitely helps. Ocean increases your confidence. Cool. And the next thing you want to purchase, probably that you want to buy a pair of goggles. All right, I buy Smith just because they give me a discount, so it's kind of nice. Any goggles will work. Different lenses. There's different colors of lenses, from black to pink to green to yellow, whatever, to clear. Each lens is designed for a different light at the mountain, because the snow reflects light differently. So this is designed for sunny weather. Darker lenses, or I should say, like green and pink lenses would be more like when it's cloudy, you need to see the very shallow wavelengths of light. But that's pretty much it for equipment. You just need boots, bindings, or boots and snowboard that have bindings, and a helmet and goggles. And
what do you feel about wrist guards?
Wrist guards, you can use them. Not a lot of people honestly use it. It's something, if you have broken your wrist before or have a tendency to keep breaking wrists, that might be useful. But other than that, people don't really use them. We teach people how to fall. So, people try to land with their hands extended, and that's how we break wrist or dislocate shoulders. But we tell people to make a fist, punch the snow, or land with your fist and your elbow onto the snow, like that. So never get your hand extended like that, 'cause that's how you break fingers and wrists and shoulders. It's gonna be right here. So that I don't really, definitely there's been one or two people that I've taught that have fallen and hurt their wrist, just because they didn't do that. Yeah, but wrist guards, not so much. You can definitely do it if it makes you feel comfortable. Go ahead. It's your experience.
And I'll double emphasize with the helmets for Wesley. Our rental shop isn't open now, but if you're a student and you do rent from us, helmets are free. So with any rental, so be sure to get one of those and take it up and wear it.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, cool. So I'll get started with the presentation, and then you can ask questions then. And then we'll get into questions at the end. Hey, Mark, can you give me a check on time?
12:18. So
Perfect. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna share my screen. Can you see me? Can you see the slide yet?
it's coming up. Yep.
Okay.
What is snowboarding?
Great. Let me make it bigger. Awesome. Oops. Great. All right. So again, I'm just a level 1 instructor. There's 3 levels, level 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3, and then you get into like providers where you actually train people and provide certifications. So level 1 is just bare minimum. You don't really need to be great, just able to teach the fundamentals. If you want to get into teaching, that's a good way to get really good. I definitely increased my ability tenfold when I started teaching, because they train you and you just practice good technique. We'll talk about that later. So what is snowboarding? Snowboarding is just like a plank sliding on snow. It's just like skating or surfing, but it's a little different. So this is just a person who is snowboarding, having fun. This is a person who's just hucking off the cliff, doing some tricks, hucking off a cliff. Going on rails and boxes, so kind of like skating in a skate park. This is kind of the same idea. And you can start pretty young. They're having a lot of fun. I started when I was 21 in a program kind of like what Mark has been talking about. We go to the mountain, private those deals. That's when I started. I wasn't really good, and I did a lot of this and a lot of that. So I fell a lot. Never really got hurt, but I fell a lot, and this is a part of learning and trying. And who can snowboard? Anyone who's willing to try it and practice. I was riding for years, doing it wrong, getting tired, falling all the time. But if you're willing to practice, put in the time and keep doing it, you'll get really good at some point for sure. All right, let's talk about clothing. Clothing is really important. And this is kind of the general list of things you will need. A base layer is just like a wicking layer or like a long underwear or a synthetic shirt. They make like this full suit called ninja suits. And not only they're gonna be comfortable, but they also look really good with that thing. But whatever, you can use whatever you have. And I bought myself at Goodwill, and I've used it for like 5-6 years now, so it can go a long ways. I wouldn't spend too much money on that. The next thing you're gonna really need is warm socks. All right, it could be wool, synthetic, like smart wool is fine, darn tough, whatever. As long as they're not super thick ones, then they'll compress your foot too much and hurt. So medium size or less like super thin ones will work just as fine because the liner in your boot will keep you warm as well. And if you can find some with snowboarding on them, that's really cool too. Cool. All right. So snowboarding jacket. All right. Snowboarding jacket is pretty important because it does two things. It keeps you warm and it keeps you dry. So the outside, the shell should be waterproof, Gore-Tex or similar materials, and the inside should be insulated. The main feature of an insulated jacket is this thing right down here where it's an elastic band. When you zip up your jacket, that wraps around your legs and that keeps your jacket down, and so it doesn't ride up, and so snow doesn't get into your pants if you fall, which does happen. They can be pretty expensive, or you can go to Goodwill again or find something cheaper to start off with. Pants are really important as well. Please don't ski in jeans because you're just gonna get wet and cold and it's not gonna be fun. The blue here is kind of like a general snowboarding pants. They're gonna be insulated and you want them to be, the shell to be waterproof. Snowboarding pants also have vents on the side somewhere where you can open it up like a zipper and allow air to go in so you can cool down a little bit so you don't sweat and lose a lot of water. Yeah, I have snowboarding pants. I also have bibs. So it just goes a little higher with suspenders. And bibs are really great because if you fall, you don't get snow into your pants. It's really hard for it to get into your pants and make you uncomfortable. Also provides a little bit more warmth in there. And there's different styles. This is like a low bib. This is like a higher full bib. And then this is, I think, looks like a removable bib in the front, so you can play around with that. Bibs are awesome. I don't ride a lot with bibs, but they work too. Cool. All right. Let's move to gloves. Gloves are super important. Most skiers use gloves with fingers. It's nice to have dexterity and all that, which is great. I use them too. Snowboarders can get away more with using mitts. Mitts are really important or really cool because it's a closed cell in here, so it's really warm. Keep your fingers nice and warm, and you don't really need your fingers to do much other than strap into your snowboard. So you can get away with that. It's a little warmer. I use both. If you want to experiment, you can get a glove that's a little bit of both, and it looks like this. Still have a kind of a mitt here and a finger to do, have some dexterity. I don't really use these. I think they look kind of freaky, and so they kind of scare me. So I just tend to stay away from them. So I don't like them, but I've seen a lot of people who do like them. And you can see the texture right now here in snowboarding or in ski or snowboarding gloves. This is leather, and leather is really nice and waterproof. And you can put like wax in it on them and treat them, and that'll make it even more waterproof and more warm. So some tricks to that. Most gloves come with some wax, and you can do it. Yeah, they can be really expensive. I got mine for $20. They just work. You can get them for like $90 for like really high end stuff. You can even get some that are electric, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, move on. face mask to cover your head, your neck, your mouth. And nowadays, during COVID, we need to wear masks at all times. There have been some resorts that have pulled people's passes for not wearing the mask, so it's pretty intense. All right, there's a lot of terrain to cover. All right, we're just gonna get through it. This is a typical ski map. The red is lifts that take you from bottom to top. You can see green, blue, and black runs. Black or blue or green means kind of easy. Blue is a little more intermediate. Black gets into the advanced and expert. And black is used as a black diamond or double black diamond, and that's when you get into really technical, really hard terrain. Also, really fun if you're into it. Cool. So this is kind of the angles. Sorry?
You do double black?
Yeah, I can do them now. I don't know if they look pretty all the time, but I can definitely get down and still have fun. You know, you definitely want to be having fun the whole time. Just kind of like the grades, percent, and degrees. Doesn't mean a whole lot until you get into the snow, but just kind of cool graphic. So this is what it looks like to be on a green run. You can see this person's just like kind of hanging out, not really doing a whole lot, just more casual. There's not a lot of movement in the body. Here, this person is kind of more closer to the ground, bending his body a little bit more. That board is tilted a little higher. And you can see behind them is the run is a little steeper. All right, so he's having a lot of fun as well, in control, looking great. And there's a skier, but you know, same rule applies. You can see the tree right there acts like a little good marker. The run here is kind of steep. And black diamonds usually have more obstacles like cliffs or something there, more trees. So you can definitely there'd be higher consequence if you do something goes wrong. But on a powder day like this, do you want to go on steep stuff because it's gonna be really fun. And double black diamonds are pretty gnarly. Okay, this is a famous Couloir and Jackson Hole. Pretty much a straight up, almost vertical, and you get going really fast. You have to maneuver really quickly and hard. So it's really for the really advanced and expert riders and skiers. I'll send you a video on the competition, people jumping into this, doing like flips and backflips and all this other stuff. It's pretty intense. All right, more. So groom runs is kind of like these huge vehicles that kind of rake the snow, make it a little softer, a little more grippy so you can have more fun. Sometimes when it doesn't snow, it can get pretty packed down. The snow can get packed down, and it could be really firm and icy, so they scrape it just to make it a little bit softer and get more grip, more fun. This is what it looks like, carving, just so someone's just turning on the groomers. But then you get off the groomers and off trail a little bit, you go into more just terrain that's unmaintained a little bit. So this person is just riding powder off the groomers. And when it does snow, you want to be kind of more in this area because it's just a little bit more fun once you get to a point where you learn and have fun riding powder. Like this guy, he's probably waist deep in snow, and riding powder on a snowboard is probably one of the best feelings ever. Top 3 for me for sure. And people who experience it, they say the same thing. It's truly one of the best experiences ever. Cool. So more terrain. So this person is just on a regular run, just like groomed. Well, kind of cut out now after people have been riding it, but it's just on just riding straight down. We call that just free riding, just no particular goal, just going down the mountain, making turns, free riding. Cool. But then you get into the park and riding rails and boxes, do like more tricks. And it can be really fun. There's definitely a beginner to a super advanced, and you can progress into it for sure. Some people are not terrain park riders, and that's totally fine. But if you're into it, go for it, you know? It's really fun, and it's cool to do really fun tricks. And then you can get into big jumps, and that's the cat track I was talking about, the machine that rakes. And some of these jumps are really big. Some of them are really small. And I'll send you a video on some people jumping, doing some crazy stuff on some of this stuff. All right. And then we get into the half pipe. Half pipe is probably the iconic snowboarding activity. There's different styles, right? And half pipe riding is one of them. These walls here are probably 20 feet tall, and people get up to, I don't know, 20 feet higher than that. So you're 40 feet above the ground, which is kind of crazy, really fun if you're into it and do a lot of crazy tricks. I'll send you a video on some of this stuff later as well. I can kind of get out the half pipe. It's kind of hard, mainly because I'm a little scared, but I can definitely have fun in it, not even going up that much. All right, that's terrain. It's a lot to cover, but I just want to emphasize this is Chloe Kim, one of the best female half pipe rider in the world. And she's from SoCal. Yeah, so I just want to say that snowboarding has endless possibilities. You can be riding blues or blacks or even greens and just have a ton of fun just riding. And really the turning and the carving is super great. And if you get into tricks and do flips and jumps and everything like that, it's just endless possibilities of fun. Cool. Next steps. You need to get the gear. You can rent the gear. You can buy cheap gear. You can get brand new gear. Whatever you want to do, just get the gear and just get started. Get to the mountain. Like it says, there's one pretty close to the school. Big Bear's out there. Mammoth in California and Tahoe area has a lot. Explore different mountains. They're all different regions have different types of snow. Here on the West Coast, we have a little denser snow. In the Rocky Mountains, a little lighter. And the East Coast is probably more icy. You might want to explore if you're into it, but I don't really want to go over there. Yeah, so get to the mountain, get lessons. I can't emphasize the importance of knowing how to ride properly for safety, for your own enjoyment, and just for the longevity of your riding. You know, if you have more better technique, you're gonna ride safer and use less energy. And it's going to make people more around you more comfortable as well. So get lessons. It really helps. Ride consistently. Ride as often as you can. Just the more time spent on a snowboard, the better you're going to get. In the off season, you train, run, do weight train, stretch, work on your flexibility, strap on the snowboard on and off, and just do some movement on that. And then next season, again, take more lessons. Honestly, I can't emphasize lessons and lessons and lessons. I'm still learning a lot. I have to go through trainings all the time, and lessons are going to make you a better rider for sure. Ask for some for Christmas or find a way to get them cheap. If you know someone who has taught, you can ask them for help as well. All right. Are there any questions at the moment for this stuff? And I'll go back to regular screen. It's a lot to cover, but in 30 minutes, kind of hard, but definitely give you some more information in those links.
Yeah, and if you are a student next year, we will offer more trips at great prices and have our rental shop open hopefully and get some lift tickets. It's great now that we're on the semester system, getting up to the resort kind of before Christmas and after New Year's during the week. You have less lines to get up to the lifts. Yeah, and especially Wesley mentioned it with bringing your mask. So, we do have a COVID to deal with, and a lot of the resorts are kind of telling you, your car is your lodge. So, don't expect to, get food up there, bring enough food, bring enough water. You can use the restroom and stuff, but there's an indoor space to hang out. Yeah, and we rent jackets and pants, not right now, but helmets and goggles and rent all that good stuff. So even if you're an alumni, if you're an alumni association member, you can still rent from us for a good price. And if no one has any questions, we'll just check out our other offerings. We are currently offering a 60-minute online training that you do on your own. It's called Stay Warm in Any Weather. There's a link in our bio for that. And if you email me your completion certificate, we're giving away a sleeping bag, a jacket, and some warm gloves. So check that out. We have only about, I think Rose has done that, and Alex, if he's still here, has done that as well. But a good chance of winning some good gear. I think only 4 or 5 people have done that. Yeah, and then we do have learn to surf trips coming up in the spring, and whale watching and kayaking trips. So check those out. So thank you, Wesley. Good seeing you. And stay safe. Have fun. See you see you next month.
Yeah. And I just want to say one thing about this program or the resources you have at the university. And if it wasn't for the university that I went to, I probably would have not have gone into snowboarding. And I'm just so grateful that I caught it at the right time. And I spent some money that I probably should have used to pay rent. I paid for snowboarding gear, and I've never really looked back since then. It's just been really fun, and it's pretty much guides my life, really. I definitely want to be close to resorts and the mountains, and it's just something that I really love. And I didn't even know that I loved it until I really got into it. And so just keep doing it and have fun, stay safe, stay healthy, and don't piss any skiers off because they will talk a lot of crap.
Yeah. All right. Well,
see you later.
Cool. Yeah. So thanks for joining us. We're here to try to support your adventure habit in these changing times. So feel free to email us at adventure@csusb.edu if you have any questions or any suggestions for how we can offer you stuff. But thanks again, everybody. See you around.
Thank you.
All right, cool. Thanks. I guess we're good, Wesley. Yeah.
Okay.
Just text me that your account number.